In today's video, I'm going to tell you guys a few simple things that you can do to your bikes right now to make sure you become a better bike rider. It's always surprising how often these tips are overlooked and even completely forgotten about, even though they play a huge role on you and your bike's performance. And on top of all that, guys, of course, we're going to ride around on the bike today, get some tricks done for you guys, which actually brings me to my first point of the video, bike maintenance. So there are two things that I would like to talk about when it comes to bike maintenance that are super important to me. Firstly, we have what I like to call pre-ride checks. And secondly, we have bike maintenance in general. Before every ride that I do, guys, like even the one that we're on right now, I do a pre-ride check. When I'm getting the bike out of the car or whatever it is, I've got this little Allen key set with me. And all I'm doing is I'm going over sort of the major components on my bike, like the rear wheel bolt, the front wheel bolt, the crank bolts, the pedal bolts, especially the crank bolts, because we know what happens when they get loose. No. Now you might be thinking, hey Krause, what does this do for, you know, making me a better bike rider and all that? Well, let me answer that. What it does for me, guys, is it gives me peace of mind when I'm out on my ride. Last thing you want to happen is your front wheel to fall off when you're trying a trick, or your pedal to blow off, or your handlebars to come off or something. So doing a pre-ride check, guys, is sort of the last thing that I need mentally to go, well, hey, yeah, this bike isn't gonna let me down today. You know, I can push my limits today without a worry that the bike is gonna let me down. That's why I do a pre-ride check. Now, secondly, bike maintenance in general, equally as important. You are only ever gonna be able to ride as well as your bike will let you. A lot of you, I'm sure, have geared bikes at home. If some of your gears aren't working, you can't get into that top gear, you can't get into that low gear, guess what? That's going to restrict your riding for the day. You might not be able to climb some of the hills. You might not be able to get the speed you need to hit one of those jumps. If some of your brakes aren't working as well, you're not going to be able to stop as well. Making sure that your bike is in tip-top shape before every ride, and in general, just always, is crucial, guys, to getting the most out of your bike and the most out of your riding experience. Now, what I think we're going to do here is we're going to get warmed up. I haven't ridden yet today, so I guess we'll start around on this bench, we'll see what we can find, we'll get some tricks done, and then I'll lead into my second point of the video. Let's do it. We've got this cool little gap here. Jump along here, jump over the gap, foot jam tail up off the end here. Let's see here. Oh, fun little gap. Now foot jam tail it. Yoo-hoo. I already know what I'm going to do at this spot here. Yoo-hoo. Hopefully you guys could see that all right. Oh, fakey. Okay guys, so I'm thinking we'll hit one more trick before we dive into topic number 2 here. Now I'm thinking, again, we did start in these sort of section here with the tables, so I might jump up onto this one, land in a manual, and then involve the one that we sort of started on, and then we'll move on to topic number 2. Let's get that trick done. Yo! Let's do it. Decent sized bunny hop, not a worry though. That was pretty cool. Happy with that. So let's keep things moving right along, guys. Topic number 2. I'm pretty excited to talk about this one. Let's talk about seat height. Let's get it. So this easily has to be one of the most frequently asked questions that I get. Why is my seat so low? So I'm going to answer it for you guys, but I'm also going to outline what you guys can do to your seat heights right now to make sure you are getting the most out of your bike. So first things first, let's address, why is my seat height so extremely low? I mean, look at that thing. You guys saw me trying to ride in the opening scene just there. I can't even sit down and pedal this thing. Why on earth would I ever have a seat height that low? So the answer is really quite simple, guys. This bike is designed to do street trials and tricks. That is it. And so for me to be able to get the most out of this bike, I need this seat to go as low as possible. To furthermore prove my point, what I'm gonna do is take a simple trick like the bunny hop, but I'm gonna do one time with my seat as high as it will go, and then I'm gonna do it again, just like this, and you guys will be able to see the night and day difference. I'll tell you what, it's a lot nicer to ride like this. So I'm sure you guys are able to tell there, the seat just goes right into my legs. I can't make it go any higher than that. And back down we go. That's more like it. That is night and day difference right there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little example there. I am by no means saying that everyone's seat height should be as low as mine. I just wanted to prove a point how the reason that my seat is extremely low is the reason I am able to do half of the tricks that I do. If it was any higher, as you saw, it starts causing me some dramas. So for me personally, with this bike that I ride, to get the most out of it, I need to have a low seat. Now, how is all of this applicable to you guys watching at home? Whatever you are trying to do with your bike, it might be a mountain bike, cross-country bike, enduro bike, full downhill bike. Whatever it is, guys, I want you to always think about your seat height and how you can adjust it to maybe get the most out of whatever you are trying to achieve on that specific ride or that specific time. You might be doing a really steep hill climb. What are you going to do? You're probably going to raise your seat up so you can rotate your legs around a bit easier. But hey, then you might be turning around and going downhill. What are you going to do? There might be some jumps on the track. You want to lower your seat. And yes, I understand. I'm sure a lot of you watching have those dropper posts, which are really nice. Perhaps I could install one of these. You probably have a good understanding of the seat height situation there. You can take it one step further, guys. If I wanted to turn this bike right here into a wheelie machine, what would I do? I would raise my seat up and it would become an absolute wheelie machine. So that's my point that I'm trying to get across to you guys. The seat height on your bike determines what you can and can't do on the bike. Hopefully that makes sense. So before we talk about my third and final point of the video, let's ride around a bit more, find some other things to ride, get some tricks done. Let's do it. Oh, close. God. Oh, up. Yes. Let's go. Another bar spin line. Ooh, yes. Okay, that's the warm up. Yes. One of my all-time favorites right there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Now what I did notice, guys, is this tree right here. Look at it, it's a perfect V shape for me to go right through the middle. May as well try to do it. Through the gap we go. Okay, so perhaps one more trick combo here, and then we're going to talk about our third point of the video. You guys already know what's coming. Yes! Yes, so for something that's really important again to me and my riding and you and your guys riding, let's talk about tip number 3, the final one of the video, tire pressures. This has easily got to be one of the biggest factors when it comes to you and your bike's performance. Let me give you a quick example. So to help me prove my point, guys, I'm going to do a flat ground trick with my bike, the Endo 360. And the first time around, we're going to do it with extremely low tire pressures. And then secondly, we're going to run it back with extremely high tire pressures. And then we're going to talk about the differences. Let's do it. That's really low. There it is. Just barely. Got a lot of pumping up to do. 50 PSI. And that was first try. So that was the 2 different tire pressures, guys, put head to head, trying the exact same trick. Now let's talk about the differences. So right off the bat, when we had the tire pressure extremely low to begin with, as I'm sure you guys could tell, the tire really wanted to grip onto the ground as much as it could. There was a lot more surface area on the ground because it was so flat, and when my weight was on it, it really didn't want to rotate. You could probably even hear the noises that it was making, just gripping to the ground. And for the second time round, guys, when we had around 50 PSI in the tires, the exact opposite thing happened. The tire was inflated so much and it was so hard that it was really struggling to grip on the ground, therefore actually making my trick a lot easier for me to do. Now, for all you guys watching at home, what can you do to your tire pressures to get the most out of your bike? That's really going to be determined by what type of riding you are trying to do. Generally speaking, a higher tire pressure is better for speed, and a lower tire pressure is much better for grip. As you guys just saw with my example there, I was able to modify my bike just by changing the tire pressures and took my chances of landing a trick from extremely low and extremely difficult to literally first try. To relate to some of you guys at home, you might be doing some of your local dirt jumps or something like that. You might need to raise your tire pressure to give yourself the best chance at getting enough speed to clear the jumps. Or you might want to lower your tire pressures. If you're trying to get good grip going around corners, berms, trails riding, you want to get the most out of your tires, you might have to drop a few PSI. It's all about, you know, messing around with them, finding out what works best for you and what you were trying to achieve on that certain day. So hopefully you guys somewhat understood what I was trying to get across there. PSI is very important to your bike's performance, and I hope that you guys did understand all the other things that I talked about earlier in the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. It was a bit of a different one because I had to film everything by myself with the tripods here and everything, so it was a little bit tricky. Hopefully you guys still enjoyed. More videos coming soon. Got plenty of things planned. As always, thank you so much for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Yoo!